The effect of negative blogging in the gospel space. I have Empress Gifty's handbag here, and I have a blogger. Zige, let me start with you. As a blogger, it may be a direct question to you. Have you ever done a negative blog about any gospel artist?
I've never done any negative blog about any gospel artist.
Why?
Yes. I think about 5 years ago, when we decided to start this journey of Christian blogging, it wasn't something that was really known in the Christian circles. It used to be the secular act, so you could see that if any act was about to do programs, you could see the dominant secular artists. You saw them all around. So it took a couple of us to sit down and to bring blogging home into the circles of Christianity. I can't remember when we decided to meet for the very first time, one key thing that we decided to highlight on was to not highlight the negative side of the artists. Because at the end of the day, we are going to get our traffic anyways, but it will go against the identity and the brand of the artist. So in as much as the negative sells, undoubtedly negative sells. In the circles of blogging, negative stories, it sells a lot. So in as much as we were going to generate our traffic, we really saw the bigger picture of what we were going to do. If we do that, at the end of the day, it tarnishes the image of the artist and it goes against the person's identity and brand. So we decided not to go that terrain. Sometimes we have a lot of stories. Trust me, we have a lot of gist. We have informations that we could bring out and it will, boom, take us somewhere. Our traffic generation and everything. But if you look at the bigger picture, it will not really help. So for negative,
I think news is news. So negative or positive. News is news.
News. I mean, news. If you look at the various elements, you know, it's not about whether it's the negative impact or the positive impact. It's normally told as it is. But they also have a certain, regardless of where they are practicing their professional bloggers, you know, they have a certain interest also to protect. So they may not be, working as the secular people or any other journalists, because they are like they are stakeholders of the gospel. So they want to protect their turf. So it is not solely about the principles of journalism. If it has to deal with the solely principles of journalism, I know, and they made it, whether it is positive or negative, they put it out. However, they have interest. I mean, if you draw, there is a stakeholder interest or power table, management, strategic management draw to know the power. So when you draw that, you can see the kind of stakeholders who have high interest and high power. Those who have high interest, those who just have the power, and those who just maybe do not have any of them. So all of them have the way you address them. The stakeholders who have high power, high interest, you always have to provide them with information. You always have to engage them constantly. Those who just have interest, you have to satisfy them. So where they are coming from, they are stakeholders with high interest and high power. So definitely, since the gospel artists are stakeholders for them with high interest and high power, they need to be engaging them more, they need to be giving them more information and ensure they protect their territory. So, there is nothing wrong if they decide to go, that tendency, because don't forget that it's about brand equity. When it comes to the gospel space, people are attracted to them because of a certain, element. they are prayerful, they see them, that is how they are perceived, that they are spiritual, they are godly. So when they go out of their bracket, definitely it can be a dent or on their brand equity, which can affect their positioning and how they are perceived outside. And when you have a very wrong public perception, it can clearly go against you as a gospel artist. It's very, very tricky. So, I mean, they have a certain something to protect. That is the brand equity of the artist in that area. So, I mean, if that is what they have decided to do, obi anchiomo. I mean, it's also part of journalism. You can decide to put out only positive news when it doesn't go against the elements of journalism, the principles of journalism. So, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. It's cool.
Zike, Esha, Ebakade gospel artist, no? They learn from these negativities and decide to reshape their lives. There's been a lot of gospel artists that now they were doing amazing in terms of a young two-way jumano. But then some one or two things CBA and negativity that was blocked about them. No, CCR why their brand isn't that solid anymore. What bonyum panko for fun there, like a so wana ne na CCR no I have but no. Do you think they learn from these negative news?
I think, sir, when it comes to negativity, nobody likes negative news around them. But some way, somehow, it happens. I personally believe that when negative stories hit a gospel artist, it does a lot of damage. Because we are in a community or we have a culture as a country whereby if someone is a gospel artist, in quotes, people see the person to be like a god. The person is perfect. The person doesn't have flaws. You're always preaching about God, so you don't have to do things negative for people to see. So the very moment a negative story hits an artist, people think that the person is no longer, in quotes, that perfectionism again. So that's when the person starts to get a decline in streams of music, programs the person goes, you see that there will be a decline in it because the person feels that you are no longer that perfect person that people used to see you
to be.
So you see, now people will start disassociating themselves from you. It's very different in the secular space. But in the Christian space, our culture makes us see artists as some form of God. Or you're perfect. Or you're bonnet. Do
they see them as a kind of God? Another when the Bible may say or they Christ nusuban, and there are things that are expected of us in this part of our world, unlike some other parts of the world that will be touched up with him or shall so my debate more him for one words in. But in any years, they don't even accept you wearing trousers. You may be a hormone on you there. And if you, the gospel artist, now a industry, what your people perceive as the Christian standards, and you do contrary to that. So on one kasana one brand.
I think as Christians in Ghana and people within the Christian fraternity, we are too judgmental.
Okay.
We are too like people judge a lot. People sit in the comfort of their homes and start judging people a lot. Probably the things that they are judging the artist or the supposed person about, they are even doing more than that. You get it? But as I was saying, our culture is different from the culture of maybe American artists. They can just braid, they can just put on earrings. You see some of them with tattoos and all of that, and people still see them as good people who are really proclaiming the gospel of Christ. But in our part of the world, it's different. So what shirt trousers cry na be out see any mu cry na be tattered jeans kakra cry.
Crazy jeans.
You catch you say wash yasi. You get it. I think our culture plays a lot of impact in that fraternity, as well as we are too judgmental when it comes to some of these things. So as an artist, it looks like Tembia or Nantibia no say or left and right. Send a you will not find any negative thing about you. I've met a couple of artists, I mean, no medin como. Sometimes we are bloggers. Sometimes you can be creative enough. You want to do something creative, kakra. Maybe a opesa caption no. We any bibi kakra bi na bi a. O say debi me patcho me sell me pesa Ghana for be di matem. Me sell. It has reached that point where they don't even want you to even do a caption that will be misleading.
Use a clickbait.
A clickbait, that's the right word. They don't want clickbait, but all those things are PR works that can help. But because of our circles, okay, see ana oba social media be na tema. Obeka say oba say ne brand amano.
Brand.
So you get so they don't want negatives at all.
They don't want negatives at all.
Yeah.
But then one kasa so wanenze no. Oyana. Why? That, and I will try as much as possible not to mention any names. I'll try my best. The Convo gospel space, like people who have been in the gospel space for a very long time, A-list, B-list artists, they've gone through scandals, ankasa. But some way, somehow, they've been able to shield about 98% into no Convo ate. But why do it's not something that is out there in the public. Oh, that artist what's why they what's why they. But as some no said they need public space or Adam, would you say that because gospel artists no PD naraso won't pay attention to PR management na them nyama kaho. Onuntina they don't pay attention to nyemebi that they do that at the end of the day no. It goes against them.
I mean, it's when it comes to the PR side, I mean, as every artist, it's like a company, an organization. It has a lot of branches, but mostly what happens is that in our part of the world, at times we do not pay attention to that practice. And it's gradually, some are learning, especially when it comes to PR. Some PR should be part of management. PR management strategy. PR should always be part. But Ghana, mostly what they do in PR is the reactionary PR. Adiaba. Then we find how do we counter it, or how do we? Okay, we are going to do
damage
this.
Control.
We are going to do this.
Planning
at the end of the crowns are wababe finding a PR plan to it. I mean, PR should be planned from the scratch. We need to drum it home for them to, understand. And if you are a student of PR, like I am, you will see that most of the PRs people do in our entertainment circles are media relations. PR is bigger than media relations.
PR is way bigger than media
interviews,
relations.
Amobi, audio, radio. I mean, that is what they see as PR, but it goes beyond it. How to brand positioning, brand awareness, crisis management, so many press releases, a lot. PR is very huge. So PR, even corporate social responsibility, is a course on its own.
It's a course on its
own. Course on its own. It tells you how heavy it is. And sometimes people see CSR as just go and donate. When corporate social responsibility goes beyond corporate social, that donation is an aspect of corporate social responsibility. When you talk about the full CSR, we have economic responsibility, ethical responsibility, legal responsibility. If you look at Carroll's model and our Carroll's pyramid, the last part, the top of the pyramid is donation, corporate philanthropy. And if you look at the pyramid, when you talk about economic responsibility of CSR, it is required. Ethical responsibility, it is required. legal responsibility, it is required. But the one on top, which is the philanthropy, it is expected. And yeah, by force. So if you, yes, so that least part, that is the attention people pay to. Then at the end of the day, because those who started don't understand the pyramid, they go and do that corporate philanthropy and there is no sustainability plan. Not a year one of. Then and twice will be. Then maybe how it should have been positioned, it is not done. So we need to drum it home to them that PR is very, very important in the practice or the profession they are in. And they need to, I mean, if you don't have money for experts and you have somebody, encourage the person to learn. And also if you're a PR with an artist, you try and learn. Even when there is crisis. In crisis, you don't create more crisis. How do we solve crisis? Every crisis has the way we solve it. Yeah. Every crisis. Remember how one typical example, I mean, academic example of MTN and Sama Mumin. They have a banter where Sama Koka says Sikabi and
MTN handled it perfectly.
Maybe. So do you know how they're able to arrive at that solution? In such crisis, the organization or the person needs to check your performance history. Now, when in your performance history, unye sadi any be, adena ye kagensi uno. They say open bar. So MTN check their performance history and they know they have not done it before. So they know confidently that if they go out, nobody can come and point hands. Then you need to check your responsibility, scale of blamability. And if you check that, what they are saying has happened, which you've caused it, you are not blamable. So 2, performance history, unyebida. Then in scale of responsibility, there is no blamability to you. One of the strategy, you can either sue or you use attack and intimidate. So because you need to create some sort of trust with the people, your audience. So they use the attack and intimidate.
Like when you use attack and intimidate, no work sue yanka. Someone would understand them.
So they attack and intimidate. You see the panat. So go and apologize or we take legal action against you. You attack and intimidate because blamability is 0. They also don't have performance history of that. So they use attack and intimidate. So I mean, you if you don't have the professional, he wouldn't know that. Okay, if blamability is 0, performance history is 0. You need to use maybe attack and intimidate or this. So it's a professional field.
It's a professional field.
People are paying money to learn.
ZK,
it's a professional field. So
I am trying.
We need to
not to mention me.
We need to plant it in the head of people.
In the head of people.
Don't mention
no, I'm trying not to mention me.
Yeah, there are some too, because they do not understand the PR practice. When they are giving advice, they don't seem to understand the value of the advice because maybe the artist doesn't know his or her brand position, he doesn't understand his brand equity, and he doesn't or she doesn't know how that thing can go to affect the public perception. And it's difficult. So, I mean, they need to, as an artist, you need to understand your brand position.
They need to understand
your brand equity.
ZK, I'm tempted to mention a name. But today I promise I won't mention. So a gospel artist. Now I'm continuing from where he left off to ask this question. A gospel artist gets into a problem, and this is more of a sexual scandal. No, let's say relationship scandal kind of thing. There's already one scandal that has come, which we are waiting to sort everything out, like And then another one comes. And second one, you would understand, but I'm trying not to mention.
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
Second one, and then a press release is circulated. As the communications person that I am, when I was in uni, my best subject, my best was crisis management. That was my best. That's the only exam I mutu market. Mutu muchrowa. Now bana me make a be selection. Did I deserve it or you dashed it? If I didn't deserve it, then it means I didn't do well. I read the letter, and the first thing that came to mind is, who wrote this letter? Because letter no mono. One kasano was one who would the share. Nipa na wanyen no chokot and some no one kasa what who would the share nipenenu. I say you are cheating on me. I say you are cheating on me.
Yeah.
You say you are not cheating.
Yeah.
A video comes up, and in your letter, you refer to me.
Yeah.
Which only came back to confirm that you were cheating on me. Do gospel artists pay attention to the fact that PR is not just done by this person is following me, this person has been in the media, this person knows how to write, so the person should just write something, the person should just put something together, the person should just plan something. Do we put that into consideration? And now there we do the oyanyamine juma, so God will do it.
Okay, I think this comes to affirm what my brother Edem was saying. PR has come to be understood in the circles of the Christian fraternity as media relations. But PR goes far beyond just connecting to the media. I think most people don't pay attention to damage control and crisis management.
Okay.
It looks like the people that we see as online professionals and people who are really learned when it comes to writing, those are the same people who does these PR works. But for PR to be effective, a professional is needed, somebody who is a specialist is needed, so that when a scandal hits you, the person knows the right time to release a press. The person knows the right time to connect you to a media platform. I've actually come to understand that when a scandal hits the gospel scene, that's when people are always in a haste to give interviews. That's when people are always in a rush to talk to a media person. But a very good PR person who is trying to do a damage control and a crisis management might not necessarily connect you to go and do an interview when there is a crisis.
But why should you even do an interview when there's a crisis? Like, what are you going to say?
That shows the lapses that we have and how unprofessional that we can be when there is crisis. I think key people and structures have to be put in place so that when there is an issue, you don't, I know most people want access to the media, so somehow we call it publicity stunt or media relevance. But in those cases, it's not a media relevance.
That's
I know where you are coming from, but that case, it was the media that blew the issue up. If you bear with me.
Oh, but somebody will blow it up.
You see,
if you were not able to handle
proper
it,
PR was consulted, like maybe
it wouldn't have been blown out of
yes,
like that.
The analysis Adam is making, using the pyramid and all these theories, I think the right thing to be done was the PR person would have given an advice.
And I said,
don't say this, don't do that.
Some man donation in an overshadow Bianca was even better.
PR, there is internal and external PR. If you think maybe you need the services of somebody outside, you can consult a professional PR. You can consult
somebody outside.
Okay, this issue, this will. It's like hiring a lawyer. You tell the lawyer, assembling then based on that, because he knows about theories, he knows about other mechanisms. So you look at the scale of assembly. Now I share, okay, approach best to use. But at times, people think that PR, they will be a bit
Yeah.
So they do it, and later they receive the backlash. And I mean, we even have experts who specialize in. I earlier I said PR super. They only specialize in crisis management.
Yeah.
Crisis management. If you go to America, they are PRs are almost they don't do any other aspect of PR. Almost they are crisis management. A bit media relation. A bit just sending releases. Or behind the strength. So even and yes, we PR, you can do other things. If a falling into be or good, it's like law. Somebody a criminal law expert, somebody a business law. It's a lawyer no when you sem ebia a clients no a business but on a divorce. Obetimi ni panaka so Charlie into we yam fan saying that's how PR is also. Into okay crisis about and even person can handle it. Because onim how the field is, no, he can quickly call somebody who is better in that field to give them advice, and they use it. But they think that on your expert no Felicio bit me bibia. Even expert in the call was speciality no. On expert in the bit me bibia. So like it's about time if we see our brands like. We value them and we think that they can carry us for a very long, and even when we have died, no cry, because the brand has been very solid, people can eat with the copyright laws over 70 years. 70 years and like 77 years over your dead cry, unkofobeti made the deal brand. And that is how Bob Marley, the money at the ADD still, omudidi on the brand, ne boy. So we need to hold it in high esteem, and whatever ingredients are here, and mama your brand is solid. No, we need to get them. I mean, just beginning of the year, I was with an artist. We had a team. We had to bring in a specialist in some area to come and support that aspect of the artist to take the artist to the next level. So look at where you fall short. Charlie, your profession, your career, your brand, your product, your business. Bring in the people. Charlie, kakrana obe yinu. Mani nyawuya. I mean, at times that is problem no. Say obe yina obi swenya kakredi. Oh, na akoye buachi. Problem ne so ba. Problem ne ba na the best one ni pa ba.
No dey bo sue nipa kwe.
So obe yi kakra no.
Zike ke maybe say with the attitude. Nyankopon no se yenche. Can maybe say na and the Adam is reading my mind. With the attitude of the average gospel artist. Bibia no za nyame. Nyame beye. Nyame beye. Bibi say you're a spiritual attack. Your spiritual attack. What is the way forward? When we are talking about the business aspect of the gospel artist, because say, if you don't understand the good business aspect, you will not appreciate the job of a PR.
Exactly.
So what do you think is the way forward for them?
I think talking about that, I was really discussing that with a friend yesterday that in the Christian community, most of our artists, they've not really come to embrace the business side of whatever they are doing. The ministry is not entirely spiritual like that. There is a certain sort of business that is connected to whatever you are doing. The very fact that you can invest in your craft, you should expect returns at the end. Because if you make an investment in your ministry or your craft, and at the end of the day, you are not getting anything in return, it can some way discourage you from whatever that you are doing. That mentality of spirituality, everything is spiritual, we need to orient our people to fully embrace the fact that there is a certain business side of the ministry. And not to say that you are a business person, so you are chasing just the business side. But you should know that as part of business side, if you are bringing a marketer to really showcase your craft, there is a sort of commitment that has to be made. If you need a PR person who would make sure that your brand is well represented, there is a certain form of investment that needs to be done. If you come to understand these things, you really know that in as much as you are fully pursuing the spiritual side, the business side also has to be taken care of. Because if you are bringing a PR expert to come and manage your brand for you, You don't expect to tell the person, say, Nyamin Shirao. Not just that, you will make a commitment to the person.
Make a commitment, yeah.
So that is one thing that the Nigerians are using that we don't understand. They are spiritual people. You can attest to the songs that they bring. But aside the spiritual side,
aspect,
they also acknowledge the business side of it. You can't just take their songs and use it anyhow. You can't just approach them for your event and expect them to just pop up. They go some terms with you for you to understand, say, make I say on so nyame and I say no, because you didn't.
Or it is
Yes, exactly. You get it, and that's where our people don't understand. The very moment you do that, oh, onye spiritual. What is onye spiritual? There's a business side to whatever you are doing. The very studio, the producer takes you money.
Yes.
The very fact that there is money going into it, a return is expected, and there is a portion of business in that. So our people need to understand that. The earlier they understand that, I think it will change their perception. So when they are employing the services of a blogger, they know that if they need maybe the services of Adam to do maybe some PR works or media stuff for them, they know that this is a commitment that's going into it. When we fully understand that, I think it will really turn a lot of things around.
About turning a lot of things around. This most likely will be my final question. So the two of you would take it 2 minutes and then we wrap up. Adam, you understand that in order for me to do a damage control for you, you should be able to put on the table every single truth there is. If you don't put the truth out there is nothing I can do. Because the American MTN for one answer me. So Mushushemna say my bida, it will go against me. So if you're not telling me the truth and I come out to come and find a way to manage the crisis, no be by you're not my age. You know, I'm taking it not just with the gospel people. We are in an industry, if you are handling PR for somebody, the relationship must blower on pede ebohu the details. The sikasambina obi olochina the wicked in this Canada, they won't give you the details. Anything that needs the PR job, that you the PR, you know that you need extra, you need the total truth. They are not giving you. How does the PR person handle if or when the artist is not willing to say the truth?
I mean, when it comes to PR is not propaganda. It's not, people think PR is to whitewash. At the end, you're black. No. I mean, PR is a truthful profession. And it's not even every PR who has to speak. They have PRs for companies who have never spoken. In a PR team, you can even decide that, okay, this person speaks well. So when we have an issue, you will speak on our behalf. We have people who can plan, execute the plan, campaigns, but they don't talk. That if you happens to be somebody who will speak on behalf of somebody, and you don't have information, and you are simple cry, just tell the people, I don't want to comment on this issue.
Yeah.
Don't allow them to put you on air and go and disgrace yourself. I mean, I've seen a couple of things. Yes, I also cry when you see yours. Nipa need information, but because they have addressed him as the PR for this person. I also just recently Rhythms on the Runway. Kwame Dazi Koyo being interviewed. You don't have information on Nipano. Also, you're PR man Nipano. What information? I mean, you be saying Kwame Dazi be saying now to papa. So I didn't cover. People were laughing at. It's like you are making yourself a laugh. They've not provided you with information. Why do you force yourself to give information you don't have? You make people think you are looking stupid. I mean, if you're a PR for somebody and Adebi or Hona Unimua, you be saying don't comment because Obetimia say assembly cry. So just make sure you have your information and know how to. Your information, and yes, you get information now they are common. No, information, you need to manage the information. Me say, this Convo Hunyom Adibia trendy last week. And they don't know how we even arrived there. The main information, but I manage it in the way that we presented a certain side. That is what we knew when it came out, it would be the best. And we made it come out. And we got what we wanted.
What you wanted.
Me honey pants any message magic them. That is because I realized that he didn't know what to put out, so I had to manage it for him and turn it around.
ZK.
Yeah, I think PR, no, for somebody to really represent you well, you have to let the person know the truth and all it takes for the person to fully represent you. Because I think part of our conversations, we made it clear that if somebody is representing you, the person is like a lawyer who is on your behalf. And I don't think a lawyer can fully win a case for you if he or she doesn't really know the truth and the do's and don'ts behind the scenes when things were happening. So I think for somebody to fully represent you in the fraternity of PR, you would have to let the person know whatever it takes. You shouldn't hide information. Or because of self-view, say any panel do information is better outside than that, baby. No. For somebody to really manage a crisis and to really represent your brand, trust in the person, that is one. Let the person know all it takes, and I think the person can fully manage and represent your brand identity perfectly when it comes to
Madam and that they are collector hall and that they are collector hall and the mama Mafia school and the mama Mafia school Mafia crisis management. Oh yeah, if people should get into trouble and come to me, we want to tell me I never get into trouble. You lie bad. Some noble book, but there, Betsy. Won't sit down. Thank you very much, Adam. ZK Madasi.